Hi, and welcome to the first video in the PowerShell series, where I will try to teach you the basics and progressively more advanced functions in PowerShell. This video is going to be very basic, so if you are familiar with PowerShell, this video may not be for you. This is for the complete beginner that have maybe just barely touched PowerShell and want to get into learning PowerShell. So, without further ado, I'm going to explain a little bit what PowerShell is and what is it used for and who uses PowerShell. So, PowerShell is just a command line shell and a scripting language all in one, and it's proprietary Windows. It helps administrators to do daunting tasks and automate different tasks. And I will say PowerShell is probably the one scripting language I use the most at work as well. It have made my life so much easier. It also is pretty unique in that it accepts and returns .NET objects rather than text. So it can be easier to connect the different commands and a series and pipelining. So what can it be used for? As I mentioned, you can use it for automate tasks and everything that talks with like Microsoft. Might that be Exchange or Active Directory, um, or yeah, those are like the main things some people are concerned with. Also, SCOM console, like the software console and stuff like that, can be used. It can be used for a lot of things. Who does use it? Traditionally, it's system administrators or people in a role where you're going to administrate multiple computers or multiple systems and whatnot. So that's usually the people who use that the people who works in IT basically. PowerShell has something called CMDlets or commandlets, which is pre-installed with PowerShell. So you can create your own modules and stuff like that, and there are other models, or I mean modules that you can install and use, but usually you have a big set of commandlets that are pre-installed with PowerShell. What you see on the screen here right now is PowerShell ISE, which is basically sort of a debugger or like it's an integrating scripting platform, so you can it's a scripting environment basically. So you can run scripts here and get the output right away. So I have pre-written a few things here. I haven't saved the script yet, but if we click on, let's say, get verb. So get verb is basically the naming standard for PowerShell, and it's sort of a best practice to use verb. Verbs when I use script, and we can run that right now. I'm gonna press F8. Once you have the cursor on one line, or if you mark one thing, it only runs that one marked thing. If you press F5, it will run the whole script in one piece. And you can see it here, run script or run selection. So if you have the cursor on one line, that's the line it will run. So we run get verb, and here we can see a whole lot of different verbs that are are used to do different tasks like copy, enter, fix, pop, and so on. And you have data handling, backup, checkpoint, mounts, lifecycle, like cycling through things, uninstall, unregister, install, enable, disable, and so on. The ping, diagnostics. All of these are tools which you can diagnose, like trace routes and so on. These are great if you want to learn troubleshooting, stuff like that. Communications, connect, send, write, read, all of those things. I've written interaction on one section, which we will come to, but it's basically communications, I guess. And security, that's security, like block, revoke, and so on. And other use, yeah, I'm not sure about the use part. I have clear or CLS is alias, I guess, but if we press F8 on here, we clear the console window. So we can get verbs to see the list of common verbs you can use. Get command is the one that you will use to get all the commands available to you in a workspace. So if we run this, it will spit out a ton of commands. Mind you, not all of these commands are commandlets by PowerShell. I do a lot of scripting on my own, so a lot of the great thing about PowerShell and what makes it so powerful is you can create your own modules or own scripts to enhance whatever build upon PowerShell scripts or commandlets to help you achieve any tasks you want to achieve, right? So if you see any lines that haven't, let's go on top here. If you don't see any lines that have version or source in it, that's probably my functions. So you can see on the far left side we have command type, name, version, and source. So when you create, you can see there are a lot of different sources that are the same. Basically, that means it's a module. DISM and the storage and so on. These have these are modules that have both function aliases in it. Maybe they have I don't know if all of them have commandlets because that is PowerShell proprietary usually. So you can see TLS. Yeah, those are Windows proprietary that comes with PowerShell commandlets. Functions, that's what I use. So I have created a PowerShell profile which loads into PowerShell when you start it up. If you script your PowerShell to do so, or it does load the PowerShell profile into your PowerShell when you start it up, and you can either add different modules or files or scripts into that, or you can directly create functions. But enough about that. Aliases is basically an alias for different things, different commands. So there you have it. We have functions, and these are all the commands that are available to us. So there is a lot to go through. But we are not going to go through all of these, of course, in this course or ever. That's something you have to do on your own. But what you see on top here is like headers. These are called objects, and each object has a property in it or a member. So we will go into that. Let me clear the screen real quick. So let's try get command name process and run that. What I did here, you don't need the name parameter but it's okay to use that. I wildcarded the name object. So anything before process is wildcarded out. This is the noun, or noun it's called, and this is the this stuff here is the verb. So everything behind the noun is getting wildcarded, and we can see we have both commandlets and functions there. What we can do if we want to get all the get commands, we can filter on the verb, which is this before the last command. That's like a naming standard. And noun is the last part here. And both of these, everything like here can wildcard or can be wildcarded. So let's clear the screen and we can say we want to have everything that starts with get, which is the verb, right? And there is a lot. And if we say noun, the noun is you, wildcard. So we say everything that starts with tag you, as you can see here, and anything wildcarded behind, anything behind. It doesn't matter what the verb is, we get those commands. So it's a nice way to filter through commands if you wonder about is there any command that have the word or name ping, net, whatever, or you can go and look at functions. Let's see what we get if we run the new with verb, so we can further filter with both verb and noun and say we want to get all the nouns that starts with you, but also only the verb that has get in it. And now we see if you combine those, that's a powerful filter because we narrow the search down quite a lot. So next thing we can do, we can use select object to kind of filter out information. So if we just want the name first and we want the definition, you can't see the definition here. It doesn't show. What you can do if you run this command again, let's show you, and we say select object wildcard, we get all let me just, I don't know if, yeah, I can't do that actually, or can, let me just, yeah, that doesn't really work well. Because it's not enough space. But if we say first one, so what we can see here, there's a lot of objects to be that we can choose from, which doesn't show when we run the first script. So what we can do, we can say get command. I think I have that further down, but we can use something called get member. That will show all the members in a command. So we have methods, properties. The properties is what we saw earlier, which we can sort on. So if we say Where were we? If I say this, filter with select object. Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of information. But if we go on the top here, we can see we have all the name, and we also have definitions. Not all commandlets have definitions, but that's okay. We can use, as I showed you earlier, we can use select object tag first to show the first lines. If you want to show the first 3 lines, for example, you get those, and so on. You can also say select last 3, right? So it works both ways. All right, so we covered get command, which gives you a list of all the commandlets that you have at hand and can use. We have gone through verbs and noun, I think it's pronounced, to see get is the verb and let's say process is the noun. Okay, that's the naming standard. And we can use get verb to see what kind of verbs that are allowed or that are the naming standard. So the next thing is we can filter further on objects based on values of properties with the where object commandlet. So let's try that out. So what I did, get process is another command that gets your processes and lists them. And instead of getting all the processes, we pipe the output to another command, which is it's a where object loop. And for each result, it goes through each property and filters on them. So that means $, underscore is the global variable for is the standard variable for the loop. So every object will be put into $, underscore and filtered. So the dot here and process name is the same as if you pipe it in and select object. So this is the object process name. And what it does, it says for each line get process spits out, pipe that to where object, and for every line in the object process name, filter on anything that are like starts on P and wildcard the rest. So we get all the process names that starts on P. That's a great way to filter output and results to your liking. All right. Next is getting members. We have touched a little bit on that. Basically, get member shows all the members in a command. So we have name, npm, disposed. There's methods. There's properties. You can go start time. All of these properties is something you can use or select on, like process name, start time, and so on and so on. So what I mean by that is let's use get process, and we say we can see here if we say work I mean, not property, but method. Methods is what you can use. Name, ID, computer name, buffer. Yeah, so these are all its properties. Yeah, so the methods are if you do get process ID something something, and you do this. Okay, there we go. We have some methods are, I believe. All right, I'm quite not sure. But once you get the output, you get the member types. I'll be honest, I haven't played too much around with member types, but it's good. It's great to know when you wonder about what type of properties or members or methods script has. Let's sort on member type, beginner, lead, and so on. And we can go on and see if we can select object and only get like definitions. As you can see here, we have member type and definitions up here. Or we can just select on just those two objects. Okay. All right, so yeah, this is something like if you get member, you couldn't really see everything. Here you can see type name, which isn't really any information you want because it's the same for all members. So that object here, not really relevant to be honest. That's the only one missing and for a good reason. But you can, if not get member, any others, if you do select star or select object, you get all the objects available in that command. Okay, so let's jump further down. We have loops. So again, loops, you can loop through each result, maybe loop through any value. So you have a few different ways or styles of doing a loop. You have a for each loop that say for each object in this object, do something, right? And this is the variable that the loops use to PowerShell loops use to put each object in there. Or you can pipe. You can also pipe the variable or any values here into a for each loop and do some operations. And then lastly, you have a while loop. In this case, we are using a boolean as true to do some operations until it's not true. I will be, we have done a for each, we haven't done where. Actually, I did where object. And again, this is also a loop. I forgot that. And we can do also pipe. Actually, I think where object is always pipe. Sorry, that's my bad. so these are the loops, and in the end of this video, I will create a little fun game, script game, to demonstrate the loops. But let's do a for each loop. So let's say John. Oh my god, I can't type. John, and separate with comma, and though. If we do this, it just pipes it out, and pipe that to for each, and we're gonna do this. Now let's say we wanna write a host. We're gonna touch on all of these as well. Uh, we're gonna say write host value and underscore, just to demonstrate. And what you can see, it loops and write the each line or each value here out on the screen, and that's and that takes us to the interaction. You can also say for each a or value in John, so actually that doesn't work, I guess. Yeah, so instead of piping it, because it accepts pipe, you can say for each the value in names, the demo. Okay, I'm not sure what it's. Okay. I think there's something wrong with my. Yeah. Okay. Let's not waste time. Jesus. I'm sorry about that. You can do like let's do it easy. A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Okay, so the thing is, I'm using this is I'm sorry for this. The reason why things are a little bit out of hand right now with the demo is I don't use PowerShell ISE, and because it's a different workspace, and I've used PowerShell 7. Those are two different PowerShell consoles, unfortunately, and they operate a little bit different. So the behavior of PowerShell ISE can be a bit different from what I'm used to when I'm programming at work and so on. So I'm really using the ISE console. But okay, so let's skip. We understand how it works. For each one variable in, let's take every lines in one variable and put it in another one. And this is wrong as well, because B will then be the repeating value. So instead of using the standard like loop variable, you actually assign each line to a variable, like so. So yeah, and while true, interactions. So interactions are output and input basically. So let's see, right host, hello, and it outputs hello, right? And host name. So okay, so let's go there. Read host. So write host is output to the console or to the user. Read host is interaction for the user to input some value. And you can also use with read host, you have the option to select both foreground color, which is the text, and background color, which is the basically the background color. Not the same for read host apparently. Okay, so this works in PowerShell 7 again. So again, apologize, a bit different behavior in ISE. It's a bit frustrating, but it is what it is. Well, you get the gist. Read host reads out input from the user. Write host outputs any value. And I bet if I try that again, right, hello, that actually worked in IC as well. So you don't need the brackets, but I know it's hello. Yeah, it also outputs the information. Okay, so well, now we're going to jump onto file systems. To get any items or get any folders, files in Windows file system, you're gonna use get item, get child item, or get content to get the basically get the content of the file or whatever it is. So if we go for get item here, what it does, it lists the directory in which we give it the demo, and it basically what it does, it gets the item. So instead of listing anything in here, it gives us just the item, which is a folder. If we get child item on the, you do the same, and you say get child item. That's when it gets whatever is, or listing whatever is underneath that folder. You could say get demo. Let's try this. So what you can do, you can kind of trick it and say, hey, get item folder and wildcard whatever is underneath. Then it behaves the same as get child item, but that's not what you want. If you want to get item, you want to get like the file or whatever to see like information about it. I bet that's what you can do with this as well. So then you have get item and the file. Same thing, you get the same information, right? And then you get content, which is basically get whatever this file, the content of this file, right? Yeah, this is a PowerShell basics course. It outputs whatever string or whatever is in that file. What if you do this? Then you get an error, right? Because it's not content. You can't get the items as content. Now I'm gonna try to do something else. What if I want to get more information? I can do select object wildcard, and we can see we get a lot of stuff here. Can try to oh you can try to format it as table, but the screen is a little bit cramped, so we can't fit everything into the screen here. But we can see that we have PS drive exists true, so we have a boolean here to test path. There's another command that is called test path the demo. We can run that, and you get the boolean the same as this. You can use a lot of techniques. You can actually use get item and the path, and if get item and path, and you can use period to extract exists and the boolean value, or you can just use the test path. So these are the commands that you need to know to navigate through the file systems. You can of course do open item, or that's not the right thing. I think to read, or you can get the content, but if you wanna, I believe if you wanna open a text file, I think you need to do some like notepad and the file name, and then you can, let's see, the demo text. So if you do that, of course I need to run it. Yeah, so here you see it opened up the text file. So yeah, that's how you navigate through the file systems. I would suggest go through the commands and try for yourself to build some commands and sift through different things. Try some loops to see what you can, what kind of objects you can select and filter on. We will be using a bit more advanced functions later on as the courses progress. So as I promised, we will make a little fun game. So the program or the function basically I want to create is a number game. Let's just let's create a number game. Actually, it does not like my function name. That's not a good verb for PowerShell, and doesn't follow the best practice. But that's not why we do this. So what can we do to create a number game? We need a loop at least. I think. Actually, let me just do it simple first. What we could do if we want to do it super simple is it's say number equals 5. Read. Let's read host first number, and I want to say okay. Guess equals, oh my god, and we want to say if guess equal num right host else Oh my God. Oh, wrong. Right. Let's run it. Okay. So what we can do now, when we run the script F5, run the whole script, we can also do this in F8. What it does is gives us this function. So now we can say number. We should be able to tab that. Yeah, number game. And enter. Guess the number. I would say 5. Correct. If we do it again, or wrong, if we say, what is the G? Wrong. So it's kind of like, yeah, once you guessed it, it's over. Let's make it a little bit more, I guess let's make it a little more advanced. I want a number to, or the guess to be an integer because it's a number, right? And throw, let's actually throw this into a while loop. While while the number is not 5, so num not equal to 5. What do we want to do? We want to run this. Okay. Usually with these things, I would say it's better to sort of use this type of this way of actually running that script. It looks a lot cleaner. Let's do this as well. It doesn't matter. You're gonna find your own way to write the script, right? Um, so let's run it and see what we get. Number game. Yeah. Okay. Because we didn't use the right variable. So let's see. 2, wrong. 3, wrong. 4, wrong. 5. A little bit better. A little bit better. We don't need to start the script to guess the number every time. But again, once we guess the number, we know the number. So let's throw in something else. Let's do random number equals get. Now we're going to go to a little bit more advanced functions here, but minimum 1 and max is 10. We don't want to guess forever, but now it's not equal to random. Actually, we should have used the variable number. So let's run this now. 4, wrong. 3, wrong. 2 is correct. If you run it again, 2, correct. 2, wrong. 3, correct. So it does change the number each time. So that's great. We have made it a little bit better. Let's see if we can't make it even better. So I don't like that we get like this messages down, like we go down, 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 down until the screen is filled with guesses, right? So what I want to do instead, I want to say, actually gonna do it a little bit better here. And actually, I want to say right I want to do this. And I want to move this. This I want to move. I think no else, because if, yeah, right. So this looks a little bit better already. I want to clear the screen, so let's throw in a clear here as well. So what I did, instead of having everything in the loop, right, and correct and get line by line, while we are guessing the number, for each time I'm clearing the screen for any previous output, and I'm saying the same. If we are guessing wrong, we will print wrong, otherwise it just keeps going. And if we are right, it will exit the loop, and that's when this comes in instead of for an else loop, else in the loop. So let's see how this is gonna work. Number game, guess the number 3, 4. Well, this doesn't really work because we can't see if we're right or wrong. Kinda, because we're keep getting thrown out, right? Or we have to keep guessing. So what have we done wrong here? We want this to write it's wrong, but that because we don't have not equal, we have equal. So let's try again. 3, correct. Wow, first try again. Wow, the number generator isn't really good. 5, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 2, correct. Okay, so the number game I created is a little bit more advanced than I started out with. So for now, pretty happy. I want you to try and create something like this, maybe, and play around with loops and variables. We haven't touched on variables that much, but basically you saw that variables are basically $sign and a variable name equal and some values. Integers like numbers, like like this. This can be done without any hassle. But if we say a equals this, that will not work because it is string and not a integer. Integers are usually fine without brackets or anything. I mean, snippets like this. If we do this string, then it's okay. This is we're gonna go through variables and how to detect the different variables and stuff like that later. But for this, the only thing you need is strings have to be in snippets like this. The integers can be assigned directly. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day.